Now the next kind of loop that we're going to talk about is probably one used most often in PHP. It's called a foreach loop. And basically it's a special type of loop, similar to the for loop, similar to the while loop, but it's made specifically for iterating over arrays, which is a very common function that you do in PHP, actually in all programming languages. So it basically is built into the PHP itself. Basically what it does is the foreach loop, you provide it, and we're going to see the syntax in a second. You basically provide the foreach loop with an array that you want to iterate over. What it does is when that foreach loop starts, it resets the array's cursor, which again is the array cursor, or the internal array pointer, is where whatever sort of the current element of the array is right now. We saw in our previous lessons on while loops how you could move the array cursor by using the next function or previous, or using the reset function to set it back to the beginning. When you enter a foreach loop, it automatically resets the cursor back to the first element. It calls the each function essentially on the array, which is going to pull out the key and value for you if you need those. And then as the each function works, it actually increments the array cursor 1. It's going to go ahead and execute the statements in the foreach loop. And then because the array cursor has been executed, when it gets back to the beginning of the loop, it's going to pull out the key and value of the next item. It's going to advance the array cursor by 1 and repeat. Now, as we know from the each function, eventually when the each function gets to an array where the cursor is past the last element, it returns false, and then that's how the loop breaks out of the loop. As with the for loop and all of our other loops, continue and break statements work exactly the same. For each loop actually comes in two syntaxes. They both can be used for indexed arrays and associative arrays, but typically one is used for iterating over indexed arrays, and so we're just going to kind of call it the indexed array syntax. And likewise, there's one that's used typically for iterating over associative arrays, so we're going to call that the associative array syntax.